Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dads, not always, well, today, on wrestling here on the Jeff Meacham Network. I am, of course, Jeff Meacham, and if you don't know I'm Jeff Meacham, watch Jeff Meacham Network, just turn it off now and go away, just because you're stupid. Anyway, I am Jeff Meacham, but joining me with shits and giggles next to me is the Renegade JJ Williams. Yes. Brother, it's crazy, man. We've been back for a little bit, and reception is good. I'm not surprised. I am impressed, though, that we've gotten such good feedback. So it's good.
I was a little hesitant leading off with the non-wrestling because I know the majority of your fans are like, hey, I don't want to hear you talk about non-wrestling stuff. Talk wrestling. Gee, talk wrestling. But, considering, as they should know by now, that I'm not too into the current product, it's real hard for me to talk about modern wrestling and be passionate about it.
Right, exactly.
But I can talk about the older wrestling, like we're going to do today, and still talk about it somewhat passionately because I remember watching that stuff and being swept up in the storylines and the matches.
Right.
So, to have that little trade-off and to give 1 week where we don't talk about wrestling, but we talk about other stuff that dads like, and then to give them 1 week a month where we do talk about wrestling, I think they're grasping it okay. I think they're responding to it well, and hopefully, it'll continue so.
Yep. And, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I fully expected them to be caught up in the moment of seeing the crawl, and just, losing their minds. And they did, thank goodness. So, but, it worked out that the topic was so fresh because it was May the 4th, of course. It totally worked out that way. And, the first wrestling topic we did, the non-world champions, that's a very hotly debated topic over the years. It has been for, a while because, who really is the greatest not to do that? So, it's, and then we did last week's show. So,
and every day since we filmed that, as I have sat here and watched these classic pay-per-views doing homework,
yes,
I kick myself in the ass on a daily basis for having left the hot rod off of my list.
Yes, as you should.
I cannot believe I did that, as much as he meant to me. And my ex, your sister.
Yes.
Sister.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, I'm waiting for you to get to the pearly gates and just get a freaking, a coconut upside the head for that, because you wrong for that.
Probably.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So speaking of King of the Ring, because
topic to talk about today.
Yes, we have a deep, heavy topic because it's going to be long-winded, and Jeff Meacham long-winded, duh. But we basically, if you didn't read the description on YouTube or whatever you're listening to or watching this on, read, folks. We highly encourage education around here. We want you to read. I won't say read a book and go into the song, because then we'll get off into the weeds and
There's not a lot to do during this pandemic. Reading is fundamental.
Yeah, exactly. I got my kid, down the hall, being encouraged to further his education. It ain't hard to pick up a book or a magazine or, an internet site and read, come on. If you didn't read, though, I will lay it out for you, because that's just the kind of guy I am, darn it. King of the Ring is, of course, in the month of June, generally speaking. It's gone back and forth over the years since the end of the pay-per-view era of King of the Ring, but we decided there was plenty of meat on this particular bone as far as the top 10 matches involved in the King of the Ring tournaments over the years. Now, I will say we only went back tournament-wise as far as the pay-per-view, which is 1993. So if you're looking for the Morocco era and the Macho King Randy Savage or Harley Race becoming the King of the Ring, no.
And not because we disrespect that era,
but
just because those matches to view and to watch, to try to judge and rank, are so hard to come by, because they did not have the weekly television like you can go to and dig up Raw or SmackDown like you can for the 06, 08, 2010, 2015, 2019 King of the Rings.
Right.
It was very, very rare that matches were being filmed unless there was going to be a title change, that footage of those matches exist.
Right. The only reason I went back deep as far as I did tournament-wise originally was because I was able to find the qualifying matches from Challenge and the old school superstars. But the more it's like, it took me the better part of a day to watch just 93. I'm like, yeah, no, I ain't doing this shit.
Which is why I stuck to just the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the finals.
Right, which is where I ended up going after 93, because like once I got past my own personal bitch about not doing the qualifying matches, I finished the whole thing in like 3 days, so it worked out well. So, and once we're done with the tournament stuff, we figured, King of the Ring is not just about the King of the Ring tournament. Yes, the tournament is the showpiece, the centerpiece of the idea, but there were plenty of matches on those pay-per-views between 93 and 02 that kicked ass on its own away from the tournament. So we're doing those as well. So we'll grab a snack.
A double dose of top 10s today.
That's right. So grab a snack, grab a drinky drink, go take a leaky leak, and off we go. Tasty beverage. That's see, Dr. Pepper tasty beverage. It's just it's like I'm home. All right. So we decided we're going to do the tournament matches first because that's why we're here. So
that's the meat and the potatoes of the King of the Ring. You watch the King of the Ring to see the tournament.
Exactly.
You watch the Survivor Series to see the elimination matches. You watch the Rumble to see the over-the-top rope Royal Rumble match. The other matches are great and fill out the card well, but you watch those events for those matches.
And you watch WrestleMania to see John Cena never lose, except last year. Oh, no, sorry. Roman Reigns never lose, except a couple of years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, there you go. So, all right. I'm going to toss a coin to see who goes first, because we didn't decide that off the air. So.
All right, that's cool.
Call it in the air.
Tails.
Fuck. It is tails. You go first.
All right. So I will go first with this top 10. Jeff will follow. Then Jeff will go first with his top 10 non-tournament matches.
Yep.
And I will follow.
There we go. So,
all right.
So if you don't want to hear a lot of Jeff in one sitting, you might want to hit the pause button halfway through. There you go. All right.
All right. So number 10 for me, my first match for the top 10 tournament matches is a quarterfinal match from 1995, and it was Bob Holly versus the Roadie.
Oh, okay.
I was thoroughly impressed by this match because when you see Bob Holly, you automatically tend to think of Hardcore Holly and the brawler that he was in his last run with the WWE from 98 through basically his end of the run. Same with Roadie, you think of him more as a brawler, the way that he would shook and jive with the New Age Outlaws. These two were actually putting on a pretty decent technical wrestling match, and it was very surprising. So that is one definite reason why it stuck out, and it earned my number 10 slot.
There you go.
Number 9 is more modern. It is from the quarterfinals of 2015.
Oh.
And it was Neville versus Luke Harper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Neville, no stranger to us. Me and you remember him from Gorilla as Pac, the man that Gravity forgot.
Yeah, Gravity forgot, but we didn't.
But Luke Harper impressed me for a big man being able to go toe-to-toe and as quick-paced as he did with Neville.
Yeah.
So, again, another thing that really made it stand out for me.
Absolutely.
Number 8, semifinals from 2000, Crash Holly versus Kurt Angle.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Okay.
Now, Kurt Angle, you could have picked virtually any match that he was in the tournament to have on the slot because he's a freaking beast.
Yes.
And 2000 was like the prime Kurt Angle because he had debuted that Survivor Series in 99, and he was just on his roll.
Uber Kurt.
Crash, again, kind of like I said about his cousin Bob. You really think of him as a brawler, but he was going toe-to-toe and like really holding his own against Kurt Angle. Yep. Very, very impressive. Number 7, the first finals to appear on my list.
Ooh.
From 2002.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar, the eventual winner of the tournament, versus Rob Van Dam. Do I need to say anything about this contest? Literally, seriously, like, do I? No? Okay, moving on.
And if you don't know why we don't, it's, go back and watch these, because
yeah,
I mean, Brock in 2002 was Brock in 2002, but Rob cannot be understated in this entire tournament, especially the semis and the finals.
And like I just said about Kurt Angle, like 2002 King of the Ring Brock was peak Brock. He had just debuted the night after Mania, was on that tear, rolling through everybody.
Yep.
You knew his destiny lied with the championship. It was just a matter of when and how he was going to get there.
Yep.
2002, the first and I believe only tournament that resulted in a title shot, which ended up giving us Rock versus Brock at SummerSlam.
Yep.
Number 6, semifinals from 1996, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Mark Merrow.
Wild Man Mark Merrow, let's be clear on that. Yeah.
The Wild Man. Little Richard.
Yeah.
I'm
not trying to be bad anymore. Leave me alone, Mark Merrow.
Again,
I'm sorry.
Kind of like I said about Holly and the Roadie, Austin, especially after he broke his neck, turned into more of a brawling style.
Yep.
His champion antics as a technical wrestler, the Hollywood Blondes, by a lot of people forgotten. So to see some of that technical prowess going toe-to-toe with Mark Merrow, it was refreshing.
I agree. Absolutely. And, let's not sell his busted lip wide the hell open, having to go to the hospital to get stitches moment. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Merrow laid his ass wide the hell open, and he's like, whatever, went to the hospital. You could see on Raw the next night where the stitches were. Like, he had a Lita tattoo style stitches in his lip, and he's like, whatever, I'm still the king of the ring, screw it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Tough as nails, man, as always.
Number 5, the quarterfinal match from 2010. And before I give the match, I just got to say, the best thing about the 2010 King of the Ring was CM Punk on commentary.
Agreed. Yep.
Because he gave us the gem in the Cody Rhodes-John Morrison match, which isn't the one I'm picking here. But he gave us the gem in the Cody Rhodes-John Morrison match about he was the King of the Ring in 92, having won that tournament in Rio de Janeiro.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Pointing out how ridiculous and asinine the whole Intercontinental tournament thing was for Pat Patterson. Like, he totally blew the door wide open on air.
And from what I understand, Pat got off on that. He marked out for it back then. He's like, God damn it, bravo, right on. So,
the match
I love that shit.
From the 2010 quarterfinals was Alberto Del Rio versus Daniel Bryan.
Yes. There you go.
Again, I don't really feel I have to say anything about this match. Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him, is a wrestling machine. Alberto, very, very underrated, I think, at that point as a wrestler. I think he's shown himself and proven himself more. I think that was a really good proving ground for him, if you will.
Yep, I agree.
Number 4 is from the most recent tournament. And I found myself kind of taken aback by this one because I am not a fan of Baron Corbin from what I have seen.
Okay.
But every match that he had in the 2019 tournament I thought was fucking phenomenal. So for number 4, I picked his match against Chad Gable, the finals of 2019.
Okay.
I legit was going back and forth between all of his matches in the tournament. And I found myself, like I said, taken aback because I'm just not a Baron Corbin fan from what I've seen. But those 3 matches impressed the hell out of me.
Right. Are you familiar with my situation with Baron Corbin as far as our like and dislike of Baron Corbin?
No, I don't believe I am.
Okay, I'll make it real safe that you can get on your list. Baron Corbin replaced Kofi Kingston as Dylan's favorite.
Oh.
Like, no lie. Dylan saw his presentation at NXT, and was like over the moon. This badass had like a biker type sound to the theme song, and he was all up in it. And they brought him up, and they turned him into the idiot GM constable thing, and Dylan's like, yeah, I'm over it. So Dylan turns on Kofi because of the New Day shenanigans, which nobody liked for the longest time. Went to Corbin, and now he's like, I don't have a favorite now. I'm like, that breaks my heart. But, you know, again, him and King of the Ring, like, he had the night of his career.
Yeah.
Like, he really did.
He did.
So, you know.
And I found it odd that they stuck with the whole King gimmick with him because, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't a Baron higher up than a King?
It depends what culture or folklore you're into. Like,
you know, he's already got that in his name. It's like, why not just make more out of the Baron?
Right. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure. You know, I know for sure if you go to, you know, the United Kingdom, of course, kings are kings. You know, they are, you know. But I think in certain like Baron, I again, correct me in the comment room, please, by all means. But I think a Baron is more of a kind of like a landowner who has a lot of power in his area of the country or the world or whatever. So, but again, I don't know that for sure, but I know, you know, as the phrase says, when men were men and kings were kings, you know, kings are the shit. So, you know.
Number 3 on my list is the finals from 1998.
Ooh, okay.
Ken Shamrock versus The Rock.
Love it.
I had to have a spot on my list with the People's Champ, and Ken Shamrock was, again, just a beast in those days. I keep using that term, beast,
right.
But, like, legit, Shamrock was the type of dude you did not want to accidentally bump into in a dark room or a dark alley.
Right.
Because he would legit snap belly to belly you and break your ankle.
Yeah. And honestly, you know, people were so pissed in the moment because it wasn't Shamrock Severn like we all wanted. But credit Dwayne, man. He stepped up, and I think they had a better match there than they had at WrestleMania or the Rumble, personally.
Agreed. Very much agreed.
So.
Very much agreed. Number 2, from the first King of the Ring, 1993. Well, the first one we're touching because, as we said, we're not going to the pre-pay-per-view era.
Right.
Semi-final match, Bret the Hitman Hart versus Mr. Perfect.
Okay.
Again, you know, these guys, you could pick pretty much any match they've had, and it would belong on a top 10 list.
Right.
They just work so good together, so technically sound.
Yeah, I agree.
And
yeah.
Number 1 for me, not only is a great match, but it's also a personal favorite of mine. The finals from 2008, CM Punk versus William Regal.
Okay, very good.
And I do have some honorable mentions I want to throw out, but I'm going to wait for your list, and I'm going to scratch them off in case you mention them so they don't get repeated again.
Very good. I wish I would have had the foresight to scratch off and have alternates because you mentioned quite a few of mine, but that's all right. It's okay.
Hey,
so,
you know what I mean? I mean,
right.
If a match appears on both of our lists, then you can't really argue that it was that damn good. I mean, it may be in a different spot on the list.
Right.
But at least we both see the fact that it deserved a slot.
Agreed. And for the record, Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect could be its own DVD set of matches because every freaking match, like, you know, seriously, how about a top 10 Bret Hart Henny list? Yeah, just, you know, there we go. So
if Bret were still with us, I would have loved to have seen a DVD like they did with Bret Shawn for Bret Perfect.
Right. Like, people sleep on that rivalry. It was a real thing, man. It was legit awesome. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to start you off with a surprise because something you said higher up on your list is my number 10.
Okay.
Steve Austin versus Mark Merrow. Now, It was an awesome match, and, you know, I think that match more so than the finals with Jake made that night for Austin because, like I said, he gets busted open, finishes the match, drops Merrow on his chin, goes to the hospital, comes back, and becomes King of the Ring. But that match with Merrow solidified how much of a certifiable badass Stone Cold Steve Austin was. Like, we knew, Hollywood Blonde and, superstar Steve Austin were, great technical wrestlers, and they could, he could win a championship at any time, and, he could cut a decent little promo and, whatever. But the toughness of the semifinal match and the awesomeness of the promo that after the finals, of course, King of the Ring 96 was Stone Cold's night. It's
It
as
really
simple
was.
as that. So, that, and I dare say, without that night, without that moment, there is no launch to the moon for the Attitude Era. And when you really think about it, it was supposed to be Hunter.
See, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you about that once we were done with all our tournament matches. But since you just brought it up,
yes,
had Hunter not been punished and won King of the Ring 96 like he was originally booked to, would we have ever seen the rise of Stone Cold like we did?
Yeah, it's...
Would we have gotten it in 97 instead of 96? Would they have just never done it? Would we have ever gotten the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin that we got, that carried the Attitude Era on his shoulders, along with The Rock, Triple H, Taker, Kane, etc.?
Right.
Austin was the forefront of that.
Yeah, it's very funny to think about that, because think about this, when you really think about, go in depth into your brain, your memory banks. King of the Ring 96, the week before King of the Ring 96 was when Nash powerbombed Bischoff off the stage at Great American Bash, right? Mm-hmm. So June 96, you've got Hall and Nash ruling WCW already. Like, they've been there 3 weeks and they're ready to go over the damn place. Up in New York, you've got Shawn Michaels as the world champion. Hunter would have been King of the Ring. There's your SummerSlam program right there. So going into July and August pay-per-views, you've got the NWO and you've got pre-DX Click on the other side. So also, had Hunter not been punished, would he have had such a huge, his nose-sized chip on his shoulder? And would Shawn have not been so bitter critter about the way his friend was punished and the way his friends, left and kind of left him behind, and his, drawing power champion went to shit? All of that stemmed from Austin winning the King of the Ring and Hunter being punished because of that, prior to that. So without the Hunter punishment, there is no Stone Cold King of the Ring. There is no bitterness and bonding that leads to DX coming together on camera. So say what you will about
316.
Right, yeah.
The biggest case to ever come out of WWE.
The highest selling shirt in wrestling history to this day, 24 years later. Okay? It's simple as that. So people will, kind of, keep a DL on the curtain call. That night changed everything. Every damn thing. And I dare say that if I ever get a panel together again on this show, and I wish I would have thought about it, because, not to spoil it, we taped this in advance, folks. The curtain call was 2 days ago, anniversary-wise. So, we could have done a huge panel on the curtain call, and we'd be here for an hour and a half of how much that night impacted everything going forward. So, yeah. I think that if Hunter was King of the Ring this 96 instead of Stone Cold, totally different business. I dare say Vince wouldn't have gone out of business, but it would have taken a lot longer to recover from the WCW onslaught.
That was going to be my next question. Would WCW have won the war without Austin winning King of the Ring?
I think the war would... let me... The problem with thinking WCW would have won the war had not Stone Cold won the King of the Ring is very simple. Even if there's no Austin anything and Mike Tyson doesn't come in 98 or whatever, the fact of the matter is, I don't think I said this on the air with you or just in conversations with you. I'll never forget reading this and hearing about it in conversation and hearing about an interview with him later on in later years. Bischoff walked into a meeting in August 1998 at the CNN Tower, whatever the hell it is, Turner Tower, whatever it's called. He walked into a room of 15 people, all wearing suits nicer than his. He had never seen them before. and they proceeded to have a meeting with him, telling him how he was going to run WCW going forward. He knew in that moment it was over. In that moment, he's like, fuck, we're fucked. That's it.
Yeah, I think I remember reading that in Controversy Creates Cash.
Yeah, he knew the minute that meeting was over that they were dead in the water before, and they were still cooking, right? Like, they were going back and forth with Raw at that point, and Thunder was what Thunder was, I mean, Thunder was what it was. But, so I wonder if the WWF hadn't upped the ante and gotten so Jerry Springer-ish, Bischoff feeling he had to counter, that Turner standard practice would have went. So again, there's a lot of things to think about as far as the term of the Monday Night War and whatever, but it all rolls back to May 19th, 1996. So, and again, when you think of May 19th and how much they've used that date over the years, with Kane and with, different things, it's like, May 19th is like October 21st of 85, in the space-time continuum. It's a fucking launch point or whatever. Or, no, sorry, November 5th, 1955, whatever.
Yeah, November 5th, 1955.
Yeah, it's like that one moment that draws everybody in from the universe. So,
All right.
Okay, so we have a category for a panel. That's good to know. Okay, very good.
All right, so because we got sidetracked, can you just restate one more time for the audience what your number 10 was?
Yeah. My number 10 was the semifinal match from 96 between Austin and Mark Merrow, because again, Austin showed his toughness in that match, and then the finals he showed his
attitude.
His attitude. Very good. Yes, very good. So number 9, 8, and 7 are all from 2019, because that tournament was just kick ass uber, exponentially. Number 9 is Ali versus Buddy Murphy. Number 8 is Corbin versus Cedric Alexander. And number 7 is the finals you mentioned, Corbin versus Chad Gable. I did not expect a 2019 tournament to be worth a shit when it happened, because it's like, I felt the King of the Ring concept was pretty much a dead concept. And granted, King Booker ran with it like a track runner going down the Olympic trials, and that's fine. King Regal,
I think as did Regal.
Well, I think if King Regal had not gotten himself in hot water, it would have been a lot better. I'll be honest with you. King Sheamus was hot garbage. Sorry, I love you, Sheamus, but no.
His Ninja Turtle villain mohawk.
Yeah. King Barrett, I wanted so bad to like Stu's King of the Ring gimmick, but it's just stupid. And the fact is, of all of the League of Nations that year at WrestleMania, he was the one that got buried the most by the Austin Michaels Foley thing, because they threw him out of the ring right away, and he could have done the smart heel thing and bailed. He instead got dragged back in, and all 6 of them punked on him. It was like, ugh. So King Barrett was dead before he even got the crown to fit properly, right? So I thought, okay, King of the Ring's dead, whatever. And here comes 2019, and damn, oh damn. And people shit on Corbin. You said yourself you're not a fan of Corbin based on what you've seen. But his development...
how little I watch. So,
right, exactly.
I have a whole lot to go off of.
Well, no. But, even what little you've watched, his development in the last 12 months since becoming King of the Ring has been nothing short of spectacular. And I feel that, people want to say he has that X-Pac go away heat. I want to see Baron Corbin come on my TV and get his ass kicked. Isn't that what a heel is supposed to do?
Yeah.
Isn't he supposed to make you want to spend your money and not go to a show because we can't right now because we're all fucking quarantined? But to make you spend money on the network, spend your electricity bill to turn on USA or Fox to watch him. That's what I'm doing. So Corbin's ascension to the throne pretty much is my whole, lower third of this list, if you want to,
That's a good point. I mean, a Dynamite heel is supposed to make you want to spend money to watch him get his ass kicked by the best babyface.
Right, exactly.
And when that top heel is the champion, Ric Flair, Triple H, it makes you want to see it even more because you're waiting for them to lose that title
Right.
to the white meat babyface.
Right. Now, people in today's era will, oh, well, it's a cool thing to cheer the bad guy. And you're right, it is. However,
Again, a trend that started with Austin.
Right, exactly.
Because he was still a heel, getting cheered, becoming more of an anti-hero than a hero.
Well,
Let's not get on another 20-minute diatribe about Austin, though. Continue.
No, well, I will also argue that really started in Atlanta with the NWO, because people hated Hogan anyway because he was from WWF, but they loved him some Hall match and X-Pac, so there you go. Well, maybe not X-Pac because Sean had to go away in '96. I love you, Sean. I'm just throwing it out there. So, all right, number 6. Now that we're there, is Chris Benoit versus Finlay from 2006. People kind of sleep on the 06 tournament. They kind of took place over the course of a bunch of weeks, and the finals was on a pay-per-view that JJ apparently couldn't find. But that match was really, really well done. And you got to remember, these are two guys that are very familiar with best of sevens, very familiar with tournament matches in general, very familiar with defending a championship on TV on the daily. So these guys are built for endurance, both of them. So, and what's really funny is when you think about it, not too long after, one of them's gone permanently. The other one is semi-retired at best before he ultimately retires for good. So this is one of their last really great matches. So, and you remember Benoit's fresh off the U.S. title series with Booker. So, he's in wrestling machine mode. That's what Benoit did. So, it's good shit.
That was definitely an honorable mention. That and the Corbin Alexander one that you threw out there. Those are both on my honorable mentions lists.
Right. I will sit here and die on the hill defending Cedric Alexander, man. That kid is talented as a motherfucker. So, all right, number 5, also from 2019, Delu versus Ricochet. Again, you and I have been kind of out of the indie loop the last 5 years. We missed out on Ricochet's ascension to superstardom. But I've gone back and watched, and my goodness, did we miss a lot. Because that guy's good. And Drew was good when we saw him in 2011 when he was still doing the horrible, thing with. No. When we saw him in 2011, I think he was already in 3MB with Slater and Mahal. But yeah, Drew has always been good. They just didn't know what to do with him until they let him get away. Sound familiar? So, now that he's been back, I honestly think this night and this tournament really made whoever, Vince or whoever went. So, and this match was awesome. So, again, just great stuff here. All right, now we get into some of the older shit. So, bear with me, you youngins at home who are still cutting your teeth and changing your diapers. Number 4 from 2002. Again, not that old, but old enough. Chris Jericho versus Rob Van Dam.
Okay.
Now, take away the concussion protocol from Mr. Monday Night. This match is still good now. Like, put these guys in the ring in 2020, you're going to have a Meltzer Classic. So, that's how good these two have always been. This match shows it for sure. You've got two of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time. Had Rob, not, dallied into the high speeds on the highway and as a result of shit happen, two of the greatest world champions of all time, arguably. So, this is before, Jericho had already been world champion here, granted, but Jericho really didn't hit his stride in WWE until after he was undisputed champion.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
And both these guys are really starting to, show their shit here as this tournament progresses.
I don't know if I'd say two of the greatest world champions, but I will say two of the most longest overdue world champions by the time they finally got a strap.
I would agree with that, and I dare say that even Jericho's World Championships in 2008 seem more like, okay, that works. That makes sense. The 01 WCW and Undisputed wins, like, he even said in his own book, he was like, I felt like I was, like playing house. Like, it was just like, I was just kind of there. So, and even Vince crapped on him the entire 3 months. So, what are you going to do? But his...
Jericho's Undisputed run was like Punk's 2 world title runs with the Money in the Bank.
Right, I agree. It was, and Punk said that himself, it's
like, you're there, you're champ, but you're not our guy, you're just kind of holding it till we know what to do with it.
Right, exactly. And
Trips is back from his quads, give it to him.
Right. And, unfortunately for Chris, it's his 01 championship, 02 championship run, he beats Austin Rock the same night, which is forever his linchpin now. But, then he has a match with Rock at Rumble, and it's interference laden and cheap shots and shenanigans. And his No Way Out match with Austin was not about him and Austin. I mean, let's be honest. So, but when he got the belt, the World Championship in 08, and then won it 2 more times after that, that was when, like, Jericho was the guy. Like, granted, Cena, and you had Batista on the other show, but Jericho said himself he was hidden away on SmackDown, so he was able to get away with a lot of shit, kind of like Punk did. So, again, we don't have in the weeds there, but these two guys, 2002, underappreciated, underrated, undersold by the machine. Go back and watch this match.
Very true.
Number 3, Bret Hart, Bam Bam Bigelow, the 1993 final. I kick myself every time I forget how awesome Bam Bam Bigelow was, right? Like, people, automatically think of Lawrence Taylor and they shit on Bammer, and it's like, no, man, go watch 93 Bammer from WWE. Go watch 80s Bammer from WWE and Jim Crockett. Go watch ECW Bammer when he's throwing Taz through the ring.
Bam Bam versus Taz.
Yeah, or, when Taz suplexes Bam Bam through the freaking stage, and Shane Douglas goes to the commentary going, they're dead! That's all he can say, because Shane's freaking the fuck out of commentary, because Bammer's in trouble. And, like, seeing that suplex through the actual ramp, the walk ramp, I'm like, knowing we know about CTE now, it's like, oh no. No. But this match, in a WWF 1993 environment, still kicks major ass. It still is a impressive struggle of a smaller wrestler against a Goliath, and Bammer wins at first with shenanigans, and referee reverses the decision. Then they go, restart the match, and Bret wins with the same victory roll that Owen beats him with 9 months later, which I thought was kind of cool. So, but yeah, this was Vince going, I'm sorry about Vegas and Bret's night. And it capped off well. Led to some stuff with Jerry, which, in 93, Jerry Lawler was the most respected of dudes. Lawler was kind of crapped on, I'll be honest with you. Lawler became much more respected once he transitioned to the announce booth, but in 93, Jerry was kind of the joke, and it didn't lead to good business for Bret. And the fact of the matter was, it should have been Bret and Hogan at SummerSlam that year, and we've all heard various degrees of the story, why it didn't happen. But when you think about it, the 2 main event matches of SummerSlam 93 were garbage. Luger Yoko and Bret and Lawler. So, again, what would have if type thing from this. If Hogan had retained and Bret got the shot. There you go. So, number 2, I'm surprised it didn't get mentioned by you on this list, considering, how much we have affinity for both these guys. 1994, I think it was the semis. 1, 2, 3 Kid, Owen Hart. Now, people are going to, what are the Owen versus Razor? Razor got his ass whooped by Jim Neidhart, pretty much, is what happened in that match. I mean, that's, it was a good match, but it wasn't a technical wizardry, thank you, Joey, that this match was. Shawn and Owen really just took all of us to school in that match. Wonderfully done. Great back and forth. And I also have Owen on the list strictly because those primarily pink with black trim tights were epic shit. Him and Jim dressed wonderfully on that night. I gotta tell you what, I love me the primarily pink with black trim more than the black with primarily pink, black with pink trim. So it's it's how I feel about the heart color scheme, if you will. Okay. And speaking of the hearts,
your
number one, Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart. Again, it's I could put on a Kurt versus Bret marathon, and other than having to go potty or get a snack break, I'm good the whole day. The whole day. Yeah. And I dare say, and people might lynch me for this one, so get your ropes handy, folks in the New Hall division of Epic War. This is better than their SummerSlam match. I believe that. I think this is their best WWF match that they had. And if you look at their their WCW matches, it may be their best match they ever had. Period. Televised.
Yeah. So. Well, I only had to scratch off 2 of my honorable mentions.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to very quickly run through these. If you want to chit-chat about them, we can. But I'm just going to try and run through because I know we have a whole other list.
Yes. Yes.
So I just want to give honorable mentions to Owen Hart versus Mark Merrow from the quarterfinals in '96.
Yep.
Jericho versus Angle, quarterfinals of 2000.
Oh, okay.
Edge versus Rhino, semifinals of 01. I thought was a really good match.
Definitely.
Again, no one really thinks of Rhino as a technical wrestler, and I'm not saying this match was technical, but I still feel like Rhino showed more than what he's known for in this match.
Right.
Speaking of Edge versus Angle, the finals of 01.
Okay.
Matt Hardy versus Booker, the quarterfinals of 06. As well as Booker versus Lashley, the finals of 06.
Right.
Really good, solid matches, solid showings from all 3 of those competitors.
Absolutely.
Punk Jericho from the semis of 08.
Okay.
Sheamus Morrison from the finals of 2010. Okay. We called Sheamus's reign as king hot garbage, but that match was far from hot garbage.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
There was just a lot better matches for the list.
Yes.
Neville versus Barrett, the finals of 2015.
Yeah, I almost put that one on my list too, almost.
And then, as I mentioned earlier, I had all of Corbin's matches from 2019, so honorable mention to the triple threat, Joe, Ricochet, and Corbin from the semis.
Yeah, that was better than I thought it was going to be, honestly.
I was curious how that was going to go because triple threats have a tendency to be very clusterfucky. Yeah. And the fact that this was a tournament, I was really hesitant about it. But right. Joe, professional, amazing.
Yep.
We know. Ricochet showed how damn good and impressed me. And then again, Corbin impressed the shit out of me. Like you said earlier, 2019 was Corbin's night.
Yep,
and he proved it, or his year, I guess you should say, all 3, since the matches were over multiple weeks.
Right.
He proved it every week that he was the man to beat.
He was. Absolutely. Okay, let me shake it out here. Shake it off. Yeah. Shake it off, as the King's Curse would say.
All right. Now, like Jeff said at the beginning of the show, the King of the Ring is most notoriously known for its tournament. As I mentioned, you watch Survivor Series to see the elimination matches. You watch the Rumble to see the over-the-top rope Battle Royal Rumble match. You watch Money in the Bank to see the ladder matches and who's going to get the briefcase. You watch King of the Ring for the tournament. However, there have been numerous matches, as we're about to get through, that deserve their own top 10 list. And Jeff is going to go ahead and start us off with those.
Number 10. Save your hate mail. I don't care. Kurt Angle versus Hulk Hogan, 2002. Granted, Hogan in 2002, yeah, okay. But, the entertainment value of this match cannot be understated. You know,
I will give you that.
You got Kurt in that goofy ass wig. You got Kurt, getting pants pretty much, and I saw more Kurt Angle than I ever wanted to see in my entire life in that match. I'll tell you what. But Hulk Hogan cleanly submitting in the WWE. Yeah. Holy balls, Batman. So it's something. And I think the match is understated and underrated, personally. Again, I'm a Hogan mark. We all know that. I'll be buried on my MEACHAMANIA shirt for sure. It's gonna happen. So, but the match is still good, in my opinion. So,
it's definitely a very entertaining match. I almost listed it as an honorable mention, but I knew you would have it somewhere on your list, whether it was a mention or it made the list. So I just left it.
Honestly, because my only other Hulk option is Yokozuna, and that match sucked. So, no. Oh, God.
Touche. You gotta have the Hulkster somewhere. It is not a Jeff Meacham list without Hogan somewhere.
No. As a matter of fact, when we do U.S. Champions later on in the year, I'm going to have him on there just because, even though he's never U.S. champion. I'm going to missay his name anyway, just because. So, right. He was the America's champion, damn it! So, all right, anyway. Moving right along. So since you like Fozzie Bear, does that make me Kermit the Frog by default?
What's that?
Since you like Fozzie Bear so much, does that make me Kermit the Frog by default?
I guess so.
We're moving right along. Okay, anyway.
All
right.
You are the MC, the host, and Kermit was the leader of the Muppet Show, so.
Yay! Okay. Right. Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here. All right.
That was actually pretty good, Jeff.
I have perfected my Kermit, and I blame you for that. Jim, love you, brother. All right, anyway, here. Number 9, the WWF Championship 6-man clusterfuck from 2000. The Rock, Kane, and The Undertaker versus Triple H, Vince McMahon, and Shane McMahon. The caveat was, unlike 99, where anybody could pin Triple H, even his own, could pin Kevin Nash, even his own partner, it had to be a babyface pinning one of the heels to win the championship. And much to Hunter's chagrin, The Rock pinned Vince to become WWE champion for the, whatever it was, the 5th time or whatever the hell it was. So it's not a pretty match. No. It's not the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it is very much, as we talked about with another thing earlier in our conversations, it is the Attitude Era on steroids. This match, you've got, the 3 top, draws babyface wise, since Stone Cold's on the shelf still, and you got the McMahon family on the other side. That's a wonderful meshing. And Vince's promo the night after, where he's so upset at the fact that they lost, and he says it's because Linda is distracting him because she wants another baby and he's a jackhammer. Just, it's comedy. It's such gold. And honestly, what's even greater is this result led to the next night on Raw and Shawn Michaels abdicating his commissionership to Mick Foley, which is, granted, Commissioner Regal, GM Regal is, but Foley was the best, in my opinion. I love me some Foley. I love me some Commissioner Foley. So yeah. This result of this match led to great shit. So there you go.
It allowed Foley to come back on TV without sacrificing his body on a weekly basis and still give us the entertainment that we had come to expect from Mick Foley when he would come right here to Los Angeles, California.
Right. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Mick Foley in 2000 because it was in Anaheim that he did the big reveal with Rikishi, right?
Mm-hmm. I was there.
There you go. It's, I was supposed to be there. Didn't work out, but, yeah, we've seen some shit in SoCal, WWF and wrestling wise. Tell you what. So,
yes, sir.
Number 8, the Igloo, 1998. Kane versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. First blood for the title. if 2000 was the Attitude Era on steroids, this is the Attitude Era on Hogan steroids. This whole event is just shit. You've got the King of Ring tournament, which is epic in and of itself. You've got this match. You've got the matches coming later on my list. This whole event was just fucking amazing. And this match and the result and the gasp of shock when Howard says that Austin has lost the title, and JR's commentary that Austin has lost his title, and the parting shot you see of Vince nodding to Sable like, that's right, I did it, and just relieved that the monkey is off his back for 24 hours. But, storytelling 1-0 motherfucking 1.
Yeah, and let's not forget the fact that Taker and Mankind still were exerting themselves into this match after what they had already gone through, which I'm sure is coming up on your list.
Yeah.
They had already been through hell and back.
Literally. So, yeah.
And still gimped out there to have their parts in that decision.
Yeah. It's like, make me put the damn mask on. He's like, fuck it, I'm just going out there or whatever, because I'm busted up inside. And Taker came out there in sweatpants. Like, what the hell, Mark? Really? Like, Jesus. Part of me wants to go, for a moment, that was Mark helping Glenn. That wasn't Taker helping Kane. It's like,
yeah, serious.
Like, Jesus. I can't have my brother set himself on fire. I gotta save the day. So it's this is arguably the best story told on a Big Four pay-per-view that year, in my opinion.
I believe it was also the debut of Kane's double-armed outfit.
I believe you're right, because he wanted to make sure that nothing could bleed outwardly. So smart strategy by Percy there. All right, number 7. I don't hear a lot about this match, and it kind of pisses me off, as a matter of fact. The WWF Championship match from 1996. Shawn Michaels versus the British Bulldog. This rivalry, granted, Shawn Michaels 96 was like the worst booked white meat babyface, because people didn't want a white meat babyface. They wanted Shawn Michaels, right? But this storyline with Shawn allegedly, making advances toward Diana Hart-Smith and Cornette and Jose being involved, and Davey Boy being the jealous husband, and it just great story. And these two could work. Granted, Davey was not, the Davey of the early 90s, but he could still work a hell of a match. And Davey's heel turn early on, again, grossly under the fuck rated. His first year and a half as a heel, you don't really. It's it's a lot of tags, it's a lot of stuff with Owen, it's a lot of his run with Shawn here, the first the middle third of the 1996 was really, really good. So great match there.
That was on my honorable mention list.
I'm very happy that makes me smile. That's good. Number 5. I'm sorry, that was number 7. This is number 6. Bret Hart versus Diesel, WWF Championship match 1994. Intercontinental versus WWF Champion. But that isn't the story, folks. The story is Jim Neidhart's back, and he's in Bret's corner because, of course, Diesel has Shawn Michaels, and we have to have some sort of counteracting. And Jim gets Bret disqualified to save the title. Oh, okay, well, he's doing the brotherly thing. That's awesome. Yeah, no. He's making sure that Bret keeps the title. That way we get Bret versus Owen, which, if we do a SummerSlam matches, yeah.
I believe we will be in a couple of months. So,
I think we are. So, but this match itself was very, very well done. Early signs of Kevin Nash's true greatness.
Yeah.
Granted, he's a big lumbering 7-foot guy, but he can work. Definitely. And Bret in '94, if you find me a better worker, I'll give you $100. I swear to God, I will. So, just great stuff with both of them.
That was another one that was on my honorable mention list. And you got to remember, if it's on my honorable mention list, then it came like this close to making the list. So it's definitely had some consideration.
Yes, definitely. Number 5, Hell in a Cell, 1998. It's not, again, it ain't the most technically sound thing in WWF history, but I defy any long-term hardcore fan to pop this in their DVD player or on their network stream and not get chills up and down your spine the entire fucking ride. Like, oh my God, this shit takes you on a loop-de-loop worthy of Six Flags. Like, damn.
Let me put it this way. I have seen this match so many times.
Right.
I did not even pay attention to the visuals when I was watching this back. I just listened to the commentary.
Right.
And still got goosebumps
Yeah.
all the way up and down my body.
Yeah. I still, to this day, cannot actively look when Mick is falling. I can't watch him go through that table. It makes me cringe. It really does.
It makes me cringe just listening to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just listening to it, I cringed.
Yeah. This is the most accidentally epic story told match, I think, in WWF history. Because you knew it was going to be something with these two, right? You knew, because it had been a war for 2 years already, off and on. But the degree in which Mick sacrificed himself, the degree in which Undertaker, with a broken foot going in, lest we forget that, kiddos, went through what he went through.
And they started on top of the cell, so the man with the broken foot was already climbing to the top.
Right, and getting peppered with right hands trying to get there. Like, y'all niggas is crazy. just saying. It's crazy. But the only other match that takes me on that kind of ride to this day, and you were with me when we watched it the first time live, Hell in a Cell with Taker and Triple H from WrestleMania. Every once in a while you'd glance over at me and were confused by my deep sobs or my emotional spastics during that match. And it's like it just, the Hell in a Cell match with those two at WrestleMania just was so emotional on so many levels because of how I'd been involved in the business at that point and how much, how things have progressed for me over the years. But this match, Undertaker and Mankind, just being acquainted with Mick like I have been more recently and knowing the emotion behind his story, Undertaker's story, JR's story, all the ingredients mixed into that big chili pot. It's like, oh, it's a tough get through, and it's a huge reason why I stopped doing Hell in a Cell binges, because I can't get through the third match on the list. I can't do it. So, all right, here we go. Number 4, another undersold, underappreciated, and because of shenanigans, often forgotten match. The WWF Championship match from 2001. Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit triple threat challenging Steve Austin. The match itself is arguably a masterpiece about 90% of the way. Then Booker T comes and breaks Austin because they're both spastic. Benoit aggravates the neck further. He's gone for a year. And Jericho ends up being back in Stephanie's storyline land the rest of the year until he beats The Rock for the world title, which is cool. So this is, I dare say, this is Austin's last really phenomenal match, other than he and Rocky from 2003. But yeah, and he went in banged up and beat up and came out way worse for the wear, as did his comedy partner for the summer of 2001, which I'll get to momentarily. They both came out of that night really fucked up.
Yeah.
So
that was on my honorable mention list as well.
So there you go. Number 3. I honestly forgot this match even existed until I went through these and watched again. 1997. The Battle of the Tag Team Champions. Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin. People are like, they only touched the 98. Oh, no. This match is one of those sleeper matches. Like, if you don't pay attention, you miss quality stuff. It's really, really well told. It is the best match of the night, not in the tournament, I dare say. I dare say it's the best match of the night, period, because the tournament was iffy, and the title match between Undertaker and Farouk was Undertaker and Farouk in 97. So, but yeah, this match was really, really great back and forth, great dynamic between the two. They're trying to be tag team champions, but they're trying to be the captain of the team. They want to prove their worth. So, great back and forth between two of the best workers of their generation. So, and this is before either of them were completely banged the hell up. So, keep that in mind also. If this match had been the WrestleMania match in 98, it would be remembered as an all-time classic. Number 2, from the year before, 1996, Mankind versus The Undertaker. People remember the Cell. People remember Buried Alive. People remember Mankind's debut on Raw. But they tend to forget this little outing as really the launch pad of Mankind, the character, and the slow realization that Paul Bearer is not what he seems to be. Because it was The Undertaker's urn accidentally lopped upside his head that cost him this match. And storytelling was great. Everything was superb. Very 1996 gimmicky, because you have Undertaker and you have Mick Foley in a leather mask with a, thing on his whatever, but, great stuff. Now, if the Hell in the Cell match is emotional strictly for high spots and just pure story on its own, this match, my number 1, just rips at your soul, knowing what these two guys are going through, having watched the special back over the years, and and you know what I'm going to say, so go ahead, what you're going to say.
I'm just going to say, if you're going to say the match that I think you're going to say, it is also my number 1.
Okay, well, it's pretty much everybody I know's number 1 non-King of the Ring tournament King of the Ring match. It is from 2001. It is a match after Kurt Angle had gone through the tournament and lost in the finals, and it is against Shane McMahon. My God. Like, if this had happened anywhere but inside a WWF arena, these guys would still be in jail for what they did to one another. Like, how Shane McMahon is not dead or a quadriplegic, I don't understand. Like, those suplexes through, not quite through, those plexiglass walls, dude, you or I would be, drawsed by those. Like, seriously, we would. It'd be bad. Shane fell on his head so many times. I felt like I was watching a home movie of my car accident. Like, oh God, just, oh. And Shane, he's not even a real wrestler.
I know.
He's a fucking executive. And Kurt Angle had no business. Just stop. It's legalized murder. But epic storytelling contained in that 1 month. Like, we didn't see a whole lot of peripheral shit after or before. Like, they told this story within a month time span, and I dare say, and if people want to, shit on my statement, so be it, I dare say it is the best story told of the entire invasion. Kurt and Shane really had no prior shenanigans or heat or whatever between the two of them, and what they did in between Judgment Day and King of the Ring was epic. It was just pure manhood pride. No, I'm better than you. I'm tougher than you. And Shane is forever on my dude side-by-side list in a fight, because he should not be alive or able to play with his kid in at this point. And yeah, were they hospitalized? Oh yeah. But they came back less than a week later, both of them. So I defy you to find me a better storytelling-wise Shane McMahon match.
You would be very hard-pressed.
Right.
You would be very hard-pressed.
Sean Waltman in 99 will always be up there with me too, because of personal reasons, obviously. But, it just, this one match, it's beautiful. It really is.
It is. All right. Now, that's a tough act to follow, as to be expected from the West Coast professor. As
I said last time, Jeff fucking Meacham. So.
Three of the matches that you listed are my top three.
Okay, there you go.
3 of the matches you listed were honorable mentions that had to be scratched.
Okay.
So I'm going to hope that from your loyal viewers, I'm not going to catch too much crap from my other 7, because compared to some of yours, they may not hold up as well.
Right.
But much like with my tournament matches, some of these matches I just found downright entertaining.
Right.
Some of these matches I thought were, on the cusp of things to come. Like you talked about with Michaels and Austin. A moment of greatness of what was about to be.
Yep.
And some of these matches on here are just sentimental favorites of mine.
Exactly.
All right, so we're going to get right into it.
Now,
Number 10.
But before you get to your 10, let me just tell you right there, if people are going to crap on his decisions based on my list, I want you to go to your bookshelf right now and grab a dictionary. Subjective. Look it up. Use it in a sentence in a writing to your mommy, and then come back and watch our show.
All right. So number 10 is a number 1 contendership match for the WWF Tag Team Championships in 1999. The Hardy Boys with Michael P.S. Hayes versus The Brood.
Yes.
Again, you want to talk about, like I just mentioned and you mentioned with Michaels and Austin, you want to talk about a taste of things to come. Mm-hmm. People remember the No Mercy ladder match. They remember the many TLCs. This was the Hardy Boys while they still had Michael Hayes, and Edge and Christian while they still had Gangrel, fighting for number 1 contendership, and the Hardys won. Whereas as the years would go by, the pendulum would swing more to the Edge and Christian side.
Right.
Very, very good tag team contest.
Absolutely. Before you go on, remind me, were you at SmackDown after Hunter Torres Quad where they had TLC 3?
No.
Okay.
I did watch it on television, but I was not there.
Well, we watched it on Rewind not so long ago, but it's just I had not watched it since I was there, so it was cool to see all that stuff again. Anyway. Yeah.
Number 9, an 8-man tag match from 1993. The Steiner Brothers and the Smoking Guns versus Money Inc. and the Head Shrinkers. Let me repeat, I am not Scotty Steiner's biggest fan. I think most people that I know would say that they are not a Scotty Steiner fan. But it was refreshing to watch him back in the days of old, before Big Papa Pump was your hookup, with the long mullet and everything, and putting on a wrestling clinic.
Yeah.
Things that could have been for $500.
Right. I am a Scotty Steiner fan. I am not a Big Papa Pump fan. Let me be clear on that. So,
if he hadn't consumed to the Hulk Hogan steroids, what could have been?
Right.
Number 8, a classic from 2002. And before I say it, you got to remember, one of these guys was just back with the company, and the other guy hadn't realized what he still had in the tank yet. Ric Flair versus Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
Classic. This was when Flair still was down on himself and didn't think that he still had it.
Yep.
Before Evolution, before Hunter bitch slapped him and said, "You're Ric fucking Flair."
Right.
And Eddie was always great, but this was back after his release, after getting off the drugs.
Yep. Think about this. This was supposed to be Eddie versus Steve. So if Flair had had this awesome match he had with Eddie Guerrero, where would the confidence have, been even with Hunter smacking upside the head later, Yeah. So
number 7 is a sentimental favorite for mine. I'm sure I'm going to catch, if there's any match on this list I'm going to catch heat for, it's probably going to be this one.
Okay.
Too Much versus Al Snow and Head from 1998.
Good night, folks. He's fired.
The minute that I saw this match on videotape the first time, I was laughing the entire time.
Right!
Okay?
Exactly.
You thought it was idiotic that they had Shawn Michaels team with God?
Yeah.
He's teaming with a head, a mannequin head. And then the fact that the pinfall comes from when they screw a bottle of Head and Shoulders into the mannequin head so they can pin his shoulders down.
Absolutely.
To count the 3 fall. I remember when I first met Scotty, I mentioned this to him, and this was years after when him and Brian had already started to have their heat together.
Right.
He just looked at me when I mentioned that this was like one of my most favorite matches of theirs, and just kind of hung his head and just didn't believe. Partially because I think he couldn't believe that somebody remembered it.
Right.
And partially because it was just that fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, please, if you haven't watched this match, go and view it just for the entertainment value. And if you can honestly tell me that you watched this match and did not get entertained by it, then don't watch wrestling anymore. Because goddamn if it wasn't entertainment.
Exactly.
All right. Let me compose myself for a second. I've got the giggles now. Give me 1 second here.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. Number 6, from 1996, the Intercontinental Championship, Ahmed Johnson versus Goldust.
Yes.
Ahmed Johnson is one of those, to me, from what I have seen from tape, that a lot of people slept on. He had what could have been it. He had a good look. He had a good ring presence. The fans were behind him. The Pearl River Plunge was freaking awesome. The music hit and you knew exactly who was coming and got you hyped. He, in my opinion, could have been a champion. But he was too accident prone.
Yeah.
Had he not had those issues, had he been a little bit more polished, he could have been the first African American champion in WWF history.
Agreed.
Argue me if you want. That's not to you because you just said agreed. I'm talking to the fans watching. Argue me if you want. But he had everything. And then Goldust was just so over the top at that point.
Yes.
You know, the bizarre one. He was so over the top at that point. Just great stuff between those two.
Agreed.
Number 5, the main event from 1994. Jerry the King Lawler versus Roddy Piper. Considering Piper had not been very active, he showed no signs of rest.
Okay.
He came in there, he put on an entertaining match. Again, this is from the Sentimental Files.
Yeah. Subjective.
And definitely an IOU for leaving you off the list.
Yeah, no shit, right?
But I felt like this was one of Lawler's better matches before he started to get that respect that you talked about earlier. And I felt like this was Piper showing that he still had it.
Okay.
Number 4, Tag Team Championship match from 1996. Match that features 3 people who I hold dearly in my heart.
Yes.
The Smoking Guns with Sonny versus the Godwins with Hillbilly Jim. And for those of you at home that don't know which 3, Hillbilly Jim, Sonny, and now Billy Gunn.
Right.
Those are the 3 that hold a special place for me.
Now, see, my 3 are my 2 are Chris and Tammy, so there you
go. Tremendous match by all combatants in this one.
Yep.
Kind of like I was talking about when I was doing my tournament matches. The Godwins kind of thought more of brawlers. I felt like they really held their own with the Smoking Guns in this contest. And then we get to my final through, and I said that there were 3 that you had that are on my list. You haven't heard them yet, because it's these 3 right now, the top 3. Number 3, Tag Champ versus Tag Champ, Austin versus Michaels.
Okay.
I was so captivated by that match. And I had even forgotten for a split second that they were tag champs together. Until they announced it, I was like, oh yeah, they did hold the belts for a cup of coffee.
Yep.
Like you said, if that match had been the Mania match, with or without Tyson's involvement at Mania,
right,
it would have been nothing against what they did provide us, all things considered, because considering Shawn was on his way to the surgery table as that match was happening, he still left everything he could out there, gave a phenomenal performance, told a great story.
Yep.
This match is just better.
Yep. He did exactly what people shit on Brett for not wanting to do for Shawn a few months prior.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we can debate Montreal until we're blue in the face, but the fact of the matter is, when Shawn had to go out on his back and drop the title, he dropped the fucking title. So.
Number 2, Hell in a Cell, 1998.
Oh.
Taker and Mick.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and speak on it because everything that Jeff already said, I'm just going to repeat.
Right.
And number 1, Shane versus Kurt in the street fight from 01. Yeah. The only little blip that I'm going to add to that match that you didn't already say is when you go back and rewatch this, because I know a lot of our fans are going to do that, having heard our lists, they're probably going to want to dig through the archives, either the DVD collection or the network, and rewatch some of these matches, especially the ones that they may have forgotten about over time.
Yep.
Rewatch this street fight and watch this right here is what made me a Kurt fan. Watch his concern over Shane when they try to go through the second plate.
Yep.
The way that he kept running over there to check on him. He is supposed to be whooping this billionaire boy's ass. And he kept going over there to show his concern, almost as if he's saying, do you want to keep going or do you want to stop? And you can almost keep seeing Shane going, do it again, do it again.
Yeah.
Because he was so dedicated to the story of this match, which is what I don't think people give Shane enough credit for.
Right.
When the man would step into a ring, he was devoted and dedicated to giving his all. You know, rest in peace. Owen died coming into the ring trying to entertain fans. I think Shane's mentality was, if I die in the ring, I die, but at least I entertain.
What did our boy Roddy always say? If you're going to die, die in the ring. It's better for business.
So when you rewatch that, watch the way Kurt rushes to Shane as they try not once, not twice, but 3 times to go through that second pain. And watch the way that he checks on Shane every time.
And I dare say after you watch the match, go on the network on the Untold section of the network. There is a story from both of them and several others involved in the planning of it. They talk about that match in depth. It's about 20 minutes, but it's almost as emotional as watching the match itself.
Yeah.
So, shit.
And now for my honorable mentions. As I told you, I had to scratch a few of them off.
As I do.
I'm going to go from newest to oldest on the honorable mentions this time.
Okay.
So from 2001, I have the light heavyweight championship match between X-Pac and Jeff Hardy.
Okay.
Giving a little bit of props to your boy Sean. And my boy Jeff.
Grossly underrated light heavyweight champion.
Back before he got batshit crazy.
Well, I think Jeff was always batshit crazy. I mean, let's be real.
From 1999, the WWF Championship match between Undertaker and The Rock.
Okay.
Corporate Ministry Undertaker.
Yes.
My favorite Taker.
I was going to say, I dare say the best damn Taker there ever was, man. I don't care. Although, WrestleMania this year was a nice presentation. So.
And then the last honorable mention I have, from 1997, 6-man tag team action between the Hart Foundation versus the LOD and Psycho Sid.
The Hart Foundation.
Where he decided to jump off the top turnbuckles and break his leg.
Right. That was Owen, Davey, and Jim?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because Pillman was still selling the thing with Austin, I think, if I remember right.
I believe so. I should have made note as to which members it was, but I believe you're right that it was Owen, Davey, and Jim. Okay. Again, I just made our one per show joke about Sid and breaking his leg, but
we have to, it's a given. Yeah.
Sid impressed me in this one because he put on a good match with the Hart Foundation.
Yeah.
Very
and the Road Warriors.
Rated. You don't think of Sid as he's got a great match in him type of guy. Sid is the dipshit that jumped off the top rope and snapped his leg. This match was a damn good match.
It was. It really was.
6 parties.
They really. It was going to be an honorable mention if I did honorable mention. I was going to definitely name it because it was very well done. Faux show.
So that is my list.
I love it, man. That's great stuff. It's awesome. I love it. I would have to say also that people tend to not really recognize the 99 tournament because, well, I mean, it's king ass, but X-Pac and Billy had a hell of a finals.
The only thing people remember about the 99 tournament is The Rock ripping Billy to shit afterwards.
Right.
But my name is Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is.
It doesn't matter. That's right.
And in that moment, Billy's entire King of the Ring push just got ended.
Yeah. It's that the entire feud with The Rock just buried the King of the Ring because he went from winning the King of the Ring to honestly a pretty decent little program for control of DX to facing ass at SummerSlam. Yeah, buried, done, over. Good night.
Yeah.
So
it's like they did a better Hurricane Rock promo or build feud than they did with Billy Gunn and The Rock.
Yeah. I dare say
they could have gotten more mileage out of the Billy one.
Yeah. I honestly think, and this is completely conjecture and, not, whatever. I think that Billy Gunn's monumental fall from Royal Grace hastened the DX reunion in 99. Because, figure, Road Dogg was still doing pretty well, with X-Pac being the babyface DX guys, right? Triple H was on his own, kicking major ass as the WWE champion.
And even having China with him for the while.
For a little bit, yeah. What the fuck was Billy doing? Not a damn thing. So, and the fact of the matter was, they put the Outlaws back together in a tag team match against Austin and Rock, and then DX reformed against those two, and boom, Billy's back in the penthouse again. So, I'm not saying, just saying.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you can find the Renegade JJ Williams on Instagram at the Renegade JJ Williams, because not only is he a renegade of wrestling, he is a renegade of all things. And as we do, next week we'll have next show in 2 weeks, another non-wrestling topic for you. So keep that in mind. If you when you turn on your YouTube and your Anchor in 2 weeks, you will not hear a wrestling topic here. So bear with us. But we got stuff coming up.
Submit some topic ideas. I mean, we've kind of got the rest of the year more or less planned, but we'd love to hear some feedback from you guys. What are some top 10s you would like to hear from us, whether they are wrestling topics or non-wrestling topics? Please feel free to drop them in the comments.
Yep. And
we will definitely discuss them and take them under advisement.
Absolutely. And feel free to Instagram both of us on DM, because it's if we don't know what you guys want to hear, we're not going to use it. So it's as simple as that. So we are totally content doing our own shit on our own head, because we like this stuff. But if you guys don't want to hear about franchises or King of the Ring tournament matches or baseball movies or whatever, what do you guys want to hear?
Yeah,
let us know. So
definitely.
There it is. Of course, you're listening on anchor.fm/Jeff Meacham Network, so you know where we are. You can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, etc., and so forth. Thank you very much, Joel Brenner. You can also find me on YouTube. You're on YouTube right now, youtube.com/Jeff Meacham. And you can find me on NoDQ.com and on the Greg Cherry brand. And keep in mind, if you want to see more of JJ, this is where you find him every other Friday, right here on Dad's On, and always on Wrestling on the Jeff Meacham Network.